Dog treats and a hot book? A Superman comic you could only get with Milk-Bone dog biscuits is setting eBay on fire. Is this dog of a promo a must-have?
A reboot that worked. Ultimate Spider-Man #1 didn't just modernize Peter Parker, it saved Marvel Comics. We dig into why it still matters today.
And it's one of the smartest, funniest, and sexiest indie books of the 2000s, and you can read it online for free right now. But not right now, because it's a new episode of Bronze and Modern Gods. You can read that book later after you watch it.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Richard?
I'm doing good, John. How are you doing?
I am powering through. You know how we do. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. Never know when there's going to be a live sale. Just had one. Went well. And if you're on your favorite podcast platform, Richard is really starving for a 5-star review.
Please.
Oh, but right now, make him feel better by listening to him tell you about the hot book of the week, Richard.
The hot book this week is Superman, A Friendship Unleashed, #1, DC Comics. This is a free promo in partnership between DC Comics and Milk-Bone, available only online with an order of Milk-Bone dog treats. Speculators are all over this due to its limited distribution through non-comic retail channels.
Why is it called Milk-Bone?
I don't know.
I've always wondered that. Is it made with milk? I don't want to be. Everybody deserves a paycheck, but this cover really bothers me.
It is. For some reason, this is just not a good cover. I agree, but Superman covers recently haven't been that great, to be honest.
No, this, of course, continues a long and storied tradition of promotional tie-in comics like past DC giveaways with brands like Keebler, Radio Shack, Pizza Hut. My favorite, KFC with the Colonel and the Green Lantern. Hi, Sandy Resnick, our friend who used to handle these promotional tie-ins for DC Comics. Richard, the first batch of CGC 9.8s are coming to the market, and we're seeing sales of anywhere from $400 to a sale 2 days ago for $1,009 for this book.
Wow. Now, I'm assuming that was a 9.8. That was that.
Yes. 9.8s, 9.6s seem to be a little more plentiful and not as expensive. I have a real gut feeling that 9.8s of this book are very tough because of how it was shipped from some stories I'm seeing online. They threw the box of dog biscuits in another box and tossed the book in there with it.
Yeah. So 9.8's definitely difficult. I wonder though, are those prices are they situational prices? Meaning, here comes the Superman movie.
Yeah.
And the prices are elevated because of that. So if you're really interested in this, I would just bide my time and wait a month or two and let the Superman fever kind of cool down. Especially like here in Cleveland, where Superman originated, it is crazy. There's a Superman museum here, and they're expecting a record crowd. So there's a lot of Superman fever going on. So now is not a good time to buy this book.
Did you go yet? Have you seen it?
I have not. I really wanted to go. My wife is out tomorrow doing something, so I may sneak over there and see if I can see it.
You guys know my feelings about movie theaters. I'm not going. So much because, okay, old man yelling at cloud. I can't trust myself not to get really angry at someone in a theater and say something.
Our friend Evan went to see it with his family today. It's a family affair. My family really doesn't care, to be honest. They're not real comic book aficionados, but from all the reviews that I've seen, they've been positive. So I think it's going to be a good movie.
I have to admit, I'm a little more excited about Fantastic Four for some reason. I am too. But I am a Fantastic Four, super fan. So I definitely am looking forward to that. As you'll see during my my show and tell, I think that is more interesting to me than the Superman. But at the same time, I also have a history of, I remember Christopher Reeves in that role and how powerful that first movie was in terms of being it was a superhero movie that people actually
who weren't superhero fans really enjoyed. So, there's this tradition of good and not so good Superman movies, but there's a lot of backstory history in the movie franchise. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays on that.
Yeah, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Anyone? Nuclear Moon?
Yeah,
Anyone?
I said good and bad, good and bad.
I just can't go to a theater. Sorry. But you mentioned show and tell. So why do you say we head over there? I've been really lax the last few weeks on show and tell. I don't have a theme, but I'm excited about San Diego Comic-Con in a few weeks from now, and a little more excited about coming to Ohio August 3rd for Neo Comic-Con with you.
Mm-hmm.
And Long Beach Comic-Con is happening here at the end of August, and one of the guests at Long Beach Comic-Con will be Howard Chaykin. And I want to take this book and see what his reaction is. It is Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1 from the 90s.
Is that a foil cover?
That is a chromium foil cover and a wrinkled sack. What is this? One of your books, Richard?
I was going to say.
Let me take this out of the wrinkled sack so you guys can see the glory. Not only,
wow,
yeah, not only is it a foil cover, but I believe it was this issue that came with like a decoder lens, and you were supposed to hold it up in the next few issues and decode things, and you would win original art. The art, let's talk about this art. It is not Chaykin drawing it. I believe, I want to say this was either his nephew or stepson. His name's Corky Lemcool is the penciler. Very young kid, obviously inspired by the Image kids. It is mid-90s. It is your typical very dense Chaykin script, but kind of done in a 90s Image style. So it's a weird mix. You can see, Chaykin trying to get his Nick Fury intrigue, spy stuff in there, but then it's also being done with, okay, if we're going to do a Fury series, we got to try to make it sell this time, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's pouches.
Of course there's pouches.
This giant cable gun.
I was going to say it does look like cable. You can definitely pick the period that particular book came from.
It was supposed to be an ongoing, and the initial orders came in, and then suddenly in the maybe one of the first Marvel books where this tradition started, because now it's a standard thing for them. Oh, it's just a 4-issue miniseries. Sorry. Yes, it's not going to be an ongoing. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Chop, chop. So interesting artifact from the 90s in Howard Chaykin's career.
Well, I'm glad you're excited about SDCC because you are a jaded veteran when it comes to that particular show. So you being excited is important.
I think I'm excited for a few reasons. I don't want to give it away. The press pass got me into something that I'm going to cover. It's Doctor Who related. I'll say that much. So I'm excited to go cover that. I also think this is going to sound so elitist. Sorry. I also think because it's such hard times out there economically, a lot of people aren't going to be traveling to come here. They're not going to be able to afford the hotels and things like that. So I'll have more elbow room. Because you remember 2 years ago when you came, it was like that, right?
It was when Starbucks is the cheapest option for food.
Yeah.
Things are expensive.
Yeah. And we had plenty of room. I mean, it wasn't like the first time you came when it was nuts.
Right.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. I'll be curious to see how many comic book dealers are there and what they're charging.
And that's one of the reasons finances are one of the reasons I'm not coming this year. I got a kid to put through college that I didn't have the last time. So
if I didn't live here, I wouldn't go, so those are very real considerations. On that happy note, what's your first show and tell book?
We're going to do these in order. My first show and tell, here we go. Oops. Fantastic Four, #2.
Nice.
It's a low grade, but grade really isn't that. I'm not really tied to grades, so that's not a big deal. But it's the first appearance of the Skrulls. You see them there. the Fantastic Four as a team still hasn't gotten their uniforms. They don't get that till issue 3, so they're just wearing street clothes. Funny concept, you know, if you think about it, the first 2 episodes or issues of this comic, they were just wearing regular clothes.
Yeah.
And then Jack, I guess, decided that they needed a uniform. So,
boy, every time I see that book, you've shown it to me a few times, I want to crack it out and press it for you, because I can just see all sorts of correctable things on that book.
I don't know if I can catch, the cover is wrinkled. We see there. There's definitely ways to improve this book. Which is fine. I didn't pay an astronomical amount of money. I paid market price for it at the time. But yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Fantastic Four, so I was eager to collect those early issues.
2 questions. Is that a spine split at the top?
Yes. Yes.
And is it all the way to the staple? Oh, no. Okay. And that's a white pager, by the way. You noticed that?
Yes, it is a white pager.
That's pretty gosh darn impressive. I'm trying to see my next book, the issue number. It is Jonah Hex number 83.
Is that inspired by another cover?
It's kind of not really a takeoff of the Iron Man 128 cover with Tony Stark looking in the mirror, but there's booze for sure. Mm-hmm. You liked heroes as a kid? Great. Now maybe it's time you grew up.
Start reading an alcoholic. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Jonah Hex for a Western to still be published in 1984 at this point. Pretty impressive, mostly due to Michael Fleischer, who was the writer, and really kept it going. But yeah, you know, he wasn't a hero. You love your anti-heroes, Richard. This is one of the biggest anti-heroes out there.
Was it continuous? In continuous publication for?
Oh yeah, it started off as Weird Western Tales, and he was in, I think, the first from issue 10 to about issue 35, 36 or so, and then they spun him off into his own book with his own number 1, and that ran to, I believe, 92. So we'll talk a little bit more about what happened to Jonah Hex later in the show. He teased.
Wow, foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. What's your next book?
My next book is another book. This one you helped facilitate for me.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four number 4, the first appearance of the Submariner in the Silver Age.
That one's been pressed.
Yeah. This one's got this, you know, it's nice golden brown around the edges, Sephora, and it is a lower page quality. But, you know, I remember back in the day, I traded a
the Hulk 181.
Yeah, that's right. It was the Hulk 181 for this book. The seller actually was in California, so I had John meet up. I shipped my Hulk 181 to John. John met up with the gentleman, and it was a smooth transaction. And John then shipped me this book. So I wish John was my facilitator and all my stuff, because then I won't have to sweat a box arriving full of, you know, newspaper.
See, another reason for me to stay out here instead of moving somewhere else, because facilitate those books. Also, my city was ranked number 102 on the most stressed cities in the U.S. Number 2 on that list, Cleveland, Ohio.
Right behind Detroit.
Right behind Detroit. Are you stressed, Richard? Is everything okay over there?
I don't live in Cleveland. I live in a suburb of Cleveland. So I think my suburb is kind of lower stress level.
I think I agree too. You have an HOA, for gosh sakes, in your neighborhood, which means Richard can't put out his flags without getting. What goofy HOA rules do you have there?
You can't have a shed. Is the biggest one. I just want a shed to put my lawnmower and snowblower and everything in. Nope. It has to go in the garage. So our 2-car garage is a 1-car garage.
I just wanted to get Richard riled up about his HOA. Sorry.
I hate my HOA.
What would it be a show and tell if I didn't show a Jack Kirby related book? It's Headline Comics number 45 with a really cool Simon and Kirby cover. And the cop is stopping these people from forcing beggars to give you 20% of the cut from
What?
their. Yeah. So you're the chiselers who have been forcing the beggars in this district to give you 20% of their earnings. It'll be a pleasure turning you punks in.
Wow. That's
If they're
pretty low.
if they're beggars, is it really earnings?
Well, that's a good point.
What's the definition of the word earn, Richard?
Contributions?
There you go. Now, big 52 pages. Don't take any less from Headline Comics.
Wow, 52 pages for 10 cents. That's impressive.
What a bargain. House of Secrets in Burbank. Thank you. It is beautiful. I would say, it's got a little rust on the staples. Take the rust into consideration. Without the rust, 8.0. With the rust, I don't know, 3. What do you guys? How much of a hit do you give for Rusty?
Yeah, I wonder what PSA would give for Rusty Staples. I think scientifically we should submit different types of books to see how their grading comes back.
I'm not submitting anything. What is your next show and tell book?
My next one is no surprise. It's Fantastic Four #5.
Which, by the way, tell everyone the story about why we're recording this later than our usual time.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I'm looking for this book and I'm running around. My collection is in the basement. So I'm running around the basement. We just reorganized. So I had consolidated some boxes. So I'm looking and looking and I'm looking and looking. I can't find it. I'm panicking because I wanted to do a show and tell today. So I'm running late for the show. I come upstairs because I was going to pick something else. And there it was on the wall behind me. So
go ahead and tell everybody about the book now that I've made you tell. Well, the Richard's suburb is now the 3rd most stressed city because you couldn't find it.
Yes, I was definitely was a stressful thing. Because this is one of the more valuable books in my collection. It's also one of the books that is most loved. I'm a huge Doom fan, huge Fantastic Four fan. So this convergence is really, really powerful. First appearance, 3.5. Again, grade isn't hugely important for me. Also because the price, these books get pricey right now. This is probably about a $6,000 book. But yeah, a lot of that again is hype because then the movie's coming out and Robert Downey Jr. is being portrayed to do Doom, and there's a lot of buzz around the character. And this being his first appearance, this book is hot.
Hold it up a little closer to the camera so everyone can see that he was colored green.
Yeah, his mask.
A good thought, but I think they made the right choice by making it silver later on.
I agree.
You paid $3,500 for that.
$3,500 at California Comic-Con of it's been 4 years, 5 years,
2021, right?
Yeah. And had a wad of $100 bills. I felt like a gangsta.
I wasn't going to tell that story again. Mention that because you've almost doubled your money since then, right?
Yeah.
If you have not watched Still Only 35 Cents, David, our friend David, his channel, Still Only 35 Cents, he has a new video that went live over the weekend about how he bought a Superman #1 back in June of last year, and he sold it just recently and nearly doubled his money.
Wow.
It's crazy. Go watch that video. In the meantime, you can watch more of us, including David, who sometimes shows up on our members only live stream if you support the show and become a member. $2.99 a month. That is $3 less than the average Marvel comic book now. Yeah, I wait for everyone to stop the vertigo and grab onto something so you don't fall over. You get exclusive live member-only streams on Thursdays, 90 minutes of fun, show and tell in there. You get to chat. You get shout-outs like this. Look at the names here. Thank you to each and every one of you for being a member. We truly appreciate it. And you help us pay for StreamYard, which, makes me sound like Sylvester when it feels like it. Sylvester the cat. Just hit join next to the subscribe button below here on YouTube, or if you're on a podcast, you can click the link in the description as we pivot to viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, I got the first viewer mail today. Is that
Okay.
how it usually works? Do I usually do the first one?
No,
I can't tell.
I don't think so. But that's great. I want you to do the first one. I want you to do the first one this week.
Thank you. Oh, benevolent God. From Mike Organic Videos, one of my memories from one of the Marvel Comics conventions I was attending was being in an elevator and seeing a really tall guy who I suspected was Jim Shooter. And he was standing next to a much shorter guy who seemed very upset about something. And then the taller guy said, "Sheathe your claws, John," in a very low voice. It was Jim Shooter and John Byrne. Needless to say, I didn't ask John Byrne for an autograph. I did get one later on that day. I have been a fan of John Byrne since he drew that robot comic for Charlton. I think it was Raj 2000 or something like that. I don't know. It was more than 50 years ago. Rest in peace, Jim Shooter. Yeah, I've met Byrne twice. He used to go to a convention in Ohio called Mid-Ohio Con that was in Mansfield, Ohio. It was at one point the only show he would do because he was friends with the organizer, Roger Price. Roger Price ended up as a character in Byrne's Star Brand. Roger Price ends up getting the Star Brand in Star Brand for an issue, which is crazy. Richard, did you ever go to Mid-Ohio Con?
A long time ago.
Did you ever meet Byrne?
No, I've never met Byrne.
I heard all the horror stories. I have to tell you, I had a very pleasant experience talking with John Byrne. I think if you approach him like a human being and ask him a question that's not insulting, you will get a very nice response.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. Richard, what's your first piece of viewer mail?
My first piece is from our buddy and show archivist, Glenn Simpson. Glenn Simpson Comics. He says, here's a question. Lately, DC has been putting cardstock covers over the regular cover rather than just being a different cover. So is CGC grading them like double covers? Good question. I never thought of that. I don't think so. Like the double cover grade for CGC, whenever there's a print reserved for printing errors, and printing errors are when for double covers or triple covers or whatever, how many multiples, there's an issue when the comic goes through the stapling process of final assembly for the comic. Multiple covers will stick together and will be bonded to the actual book, and you can have, I've seen five covers on a book previously. And the way CGC does it, they grade the book by the best cover, and that's typically the cover that's the most innermost cover because it's protected by all the other outer covers. In this case, that is not a printing error; it's not a manufacturing error. DC specifically wanted a cover over top of the regular cover. So in that case, I don't see CGC doing a double cover for that particular comic or any of those comics that have that intended cardstock cover.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the case. I've actually sent a few in. What was like the Batman book, like the first appearance of the Goblin Robin or whatever that was hot for like
yes.
Yeah, I think that's one example. My next piece of viewer mail comes from Comic Collects 958. Strongly recommending both the new Doctor Who and Ironheart. Any other gems we are missing, John? Comics Collect. I know sarcasm when I read it, my friend. I have to. That this comment made me laugh. I people have different strokes. Some people do not like the new Doctor Who. Some people do not like Ironheart. Other people do. I'm one of the ones that like both of them. So I took this in the hopefully humorous intent that it was meant. I will tell you, Comic Collects, my taste is very suspect. I love most of Twin Peaks season 2. I will pause while everyone reels their head around that. There was some good stuff in Twin Peaks season 2.
I saved myself. I never watched that show.
Oh my God.
Never watched Lost either. Never had an interest.
Don't get me started on Lost. I stayed to the bitter end. I don't know why.
But I enjoyed Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who, and I enjoyed the first episode of Ironheart. As a matter of fact, my wife and I are going to watch the second episode after we get done recording. Uh, I could definitely understand why some people it may not be their cup of tea. It is definitely one of those shows that is not targeting everyone.
Mhm.
Uh, and if you're not in that target group, you may not like it. But not everything is made for everybody.
I think a lot of what I'm reading, and I'm not putting this on you, Comiclex. I don't know what your opinion is, so don't take this as I'm talking to you about you. Some people have a real problem with her being morally ambiguous or not being a paragon of virtue. A lot of these same people that are saying that love the boys.
That's true.
So, grain of salt. What is your next piece of your mail?
My next piece is from Raph Retro Comics.
Wait, was
And,
that me last week? Your left piece?
and I love this comment. Come visit Toronto. I have a copy of Dakota North #1 Canadian price variant that both of you can fight over if you would make the visit. Just Married, which I'm assuming is a comic book store there, has some really interesting covers for that.
Just Married is that Charlton romance comic that I showed last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's right. Take a look at issue number 104, which would have been super controversial back then in 1975. The cover for 102 by Demetrio Sanchez Gomez is also something else.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with those covers, John?
I know exactly what he's talking about with issue 104. It is a very blatant, purposeful interracial kiss on the front cover, which I'm sure had some distribution problems in the South. 102, I've never seen before, but they have some crazy covers on this run. So I'm going to hold this episode till after these conventions in August so I can go grab these before you guys get them.
I am so looking for an excuse to go to Toronto for a number of different reasons. I would love to go up there and visit some of the comic book stores up there. So
I love we gotta go. I
Raph,
love.
yeah. Maybe John, you come here and we can drive up to. It's about a 5-hour drive to Toronto from where I live. Go up there and do that day trip.
Driving, so pedestrian. Next piece of your mail is from Raul Mendieta, who we haven't heard from in a while. Hi, Raul. All right, I asked last week, talking about Daredevil, if Frank Miller had established that Matt Murdock really didn't have radar sense. It's the fact that Stick helped him learn how to see things with ninja skills. And Raul sets me straight. Stick only helped Matt refine the use of his radar, similar to Xavier helping the X-Men use their powers. And Raul, you're absolutely right. Went back and looked. It was that run where the radar sense was going out of control, and he's like, that's that one cover where it's all white and he's holding his mirrors. Yeah. So that's where Stick came back and helped him refine it. So thank you for the correction there, Raul. And what's your last piece of your mail?
My last piece is from Jedi Farce, which I love that name. And Jedi says, you guys should do a YouTube auction. John, funny thing is, John and I were just talking about that right before we started this show.
Yeah, I want to do it. You guys give me ideas how. So Instagram, somebody claims something, I can DM them, right? Here, someone claims something and they disappear, and I have no way of getting a hold of them. So is the solution like us having some sort of Google Doc that you fill out before the auction? If you guys are into that, let us know in the comments. Love to experiment, but I just don't want to do it and then have like a bunch of people claim stuff and then disappear and ghost. Enough of this talk about live sales. You guys are here for a reason that you may not even realize. I don't know. I can't talk today, Richard. It's the 25-year rule. It's a sloppy segue. Yes. 25-year rule. 2 weeks in a row for 25-year rule. Why? Because John's in a fog and forgot to rotate the features. So you're getting 2 weeks of 25-year rule this month.
That's 50-year rule. You add them together.
I know. This one's a good one, though, because it's been 25 years, believe it or not, since Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Mm.
Launched by Marvel in 2000 to start the Ultimate Universe, a bold attempt to modernize and reintroduce classic characters to a new generation without decades of continuity. Problem is, as the Ultimate Universe got 10, 15 years old, Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Bagley, they re-envisioned Peter as a contemporary high school student, focusing on relatable teenage struggles and long-form character development. And hello, decompressed storylines. The first arc stretched the original, 15-page origin story over several issues, embracing a slower, more cinematic pacing that was rare at the time. And like it or not, it became hugely influential. The title was a hit with both new readers and a lot of longtime fans, eventually becoming one of Marvel's best-selling and most consistent books of the 2000s. And let's be honest, Ultimate Spider-Man helped save Marvel Comics in the early 2000s and it proved that continuity reboots could be successful when done with care. I think they learned their lesson. They never tried Ultimate Spider-Man ever again.
Never.
Hey, here's a shocker. The 90-day average for a CGC 9.8 for Ultimate Spider-Man #1 is $263. I did not think it was that much.
Wow. Do you think people are conflating it with the later Ultimate series?
Who knows? Or maybe it's 25-year rule. What's the 25-year rule? You grew up reading Ultimate Spider-Man and you want to get, when you're older, it's been 25 years, you want to regain that. Here it is. So what do you guys think of Ultimate Spider-Man #1 when it came out? You're our age, most of you. Were you as outraged? Were you, guys, I remember the outrage too.
Don't mess with the canon. Yeah.
Right. I never read it. I think I read I take that back. I read the first 3 or 4 issues and I was like, okay, we're almost to where he walks from his house to high school.
Was it that slow pacing?
Dear Lord. It was like issue 1, Peter crosses the street.
Wow.
I'm of course using a little bit of hyperbole. Hey, I'm the guy that recommended Twin Peaks season 2 earlier today.
You sure did.
Richard, it is time for our underrated books of the week. What do you got?
My pick this week is kind of a different one. It's a book called Empowered by Adam Warren. It's published by Dark Horse.
I'm shocked you like this book. Not.
No, yeah, this is right in my wheelhouse. You got pretty girls and there's bondage involved too, because she gets tied up every single story. She seems like she's tied up. It's written and illustrated by Adam Warren. He blends, Western comics with, you can tell by the cover here that you see, there's anime influenced, manga influence. And it's a gender bending superhero satire. It's humorous, it's self-aware, it breaks that fourth wall. It takes on all the superhero tropes. She's with a superhero team of characters who are, parodies of certain archetypes. And it's meant to be funny. It's meant to be very episodic, very web story like in the way it's told in bite-sized pieces. And it follows this pretty blonde girl. If you're looking at the cover of issue #1, her name is Alyssa Megan Powers, or EMP. And so she took the name Empowered, which unfortunately is not very indicative of what she can do. She's wearing this special suit that works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. It seems to be the more damage it takes, the more skin is revealed and less useful it is. And her opponents tie her up, and she waits to be rescued. And there's a lot of the story seems to revolve around her interacting with her captors before she's eventually rescued by her superhero team. It's a lighthearted story. It's one of those books, and this is a graphic novel. It's a collection of stories. Each story is probably 3 pages long. They're very, very short. And this is a graphic novel released by Dark Horse. It's 248 pages. You get your money's worth with this. So you can follow along with her. She's very insecure because of the way her powers work sometimes and don't, and she's always seems to be at the whim of other people's, to come rescue her. Um, it's got a great cast of characters. She's got a boyfriend named Thug Boy and a friend called Ninjet, who are both bad guys, and then have reformed because of their relationship with her. It's a fun read. It started out in 2007. The series ended in 2024. Like anything, that's an ending is something that's temporary. There's some offshoot books for this as well. You can buy this collection for anywhere from $5 to $15, and I think all there's 12 books in the series. You can buy them all for around that price. Or if you're extra frugal, then you can go to empoweredcomic.com. And remember, I mentioned they're very short stories, very web format like. Well, the writer and artist for this, Adam Warren, has a website, empoweredcomic.com, where he has printed or published the comics. From what I can tell, it's all of them. I didn't go through the website extensively, but if you don't want to read the graphic novel, or if you're on, you're someplace and you don't have access to a paper book, you can go to the website and start reading it. I will warn you, it doesn't get graphic, but it does get very scantily clad, so you may not want to read it in certain situations if you're trying if it's on your computer. But nothing overt. Anyway, it's a fun kind of bite-sized story that has an overarching, there's a purpose to the story, but it doesn't really impede your ability to enjoy the now. So check it out.
I have to wonder, Adam Warren, he has a great style. It looks like this whole thing was drawn with pencil.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
like no inking. I wonder if it's just a setting, like if it was drawn on a digital pad, and he just and like a charcoal setting. But I love his style. He also did a little book for Marvel in the 2000s called Live Wires, which is well done and very little remembered. Anybody remember Adam Warren, Live Wires? Anyone? Well, all right. My underrated book this week is, as I teased earlier, Jonah Hex number 92 from 1985, the final issue of the original run of Jonah Hex. Look, he's on Ozempic.
It's working for him.
Working, looking good. This ended the long-running Western series, but it didn't tie up a lot of plot lines, so it kind of left fans without closure. For example, we've seen Jonah's destiny in the Jonah Hex Spectacular from 1978, where there's a story that takes place in the future of the West, a future of his life, not in the future, where his taxidermied corpse is displayed in a traveling carnival. One of the darker character fates of a DC character. Hey, remember when Michael Fleischer sued Harlan Ellison in the Comics Journal for calling him? Instead of resolving these storylines, they relaunched Jonah Hex as Hex, Extreme Hex, a short-lived 1980s sci-fi western that sent Jonah into a dystopian future. Ooh. The Keith Giffen issues of Hex are something to behold. I'll just say that. Since then, in 2011, DC brought Jonah back in All-Star Western, part of the New 52 relaunch. The series now grounded him in Gotham City's past, blending Western grit with urban mystery and hopefully trying to introduce him to a new generation. Ran for years and years. Our good friend Jimmy Palmiotti writing that. I read it. Even when they would have crossovers with like Superman. Yeah. One thing about the Fleischer run of Jonah Hex, 1985, you got no Crisis crossover, no Red Sky issues, no trying to force it into DC continuity. Take a lesson from this warlord. Can't do it. For the last issue of Jonah Hex, A CGC 9.8 sold last year for just $75. Raws on eBay, meanwhile, sell for around 15 to 30 bucks. So if you're digging in the box and you see this and for, a few bucks, you might want to grab it because it is one of those scarcer lower print run last issues.
Is DC doing anything with Westerns at this point?
No,
I mean, it's a genre that just has died out as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, DC held on the longest for Westerns and war books. I mean, they really held on to the mid 80s. Sergeant Rock ran almost to the 90s. I think the last issue of Sergeant Rock was in 88 or 89. So they held out. But yeah, I will give DC credit. They brought Jonah back in that all-star Western that ran for a few years. It did okay. That was one of the more interesting, successful New 52 launches, unlike things like the new OMAC or Blackhawks that lasted less than a year. That all-star Western did pretty well. All right, everybody. We will see you members on Thursday for an extended live chat and show and tell. Everyone else, thanks for joining. We'll see you on Monday.
Everybody, stay safe.